From Ashes. Chapter 1. The Present. The clouds roll in, thick and gray. We don't mind. We're not here to swim, not this time. We watch the fury of sky, blue to gray, hints of green, sometimes even a wisp of white, like an angel's wing being dragged through the sludge. Poor angels. The rain hasn't started yet, and I set a blanket on the covered porch of our rental house. Gabby sits beside me, 7 years old, all limbs and eyes and questions. The ocean rages in a choppy reflection of the sky, tumbling, swelling, falling, sucking in its breath, the shore growing long, before letting out a roar, then a series of roars, then a thing that is only a roar. A heart, the ocean, always beating. Sometimes a soft sway, sometimes a hammering thud. Never a still line, a fallen chest, an empty voice. We often come here on the anniversary of Rachel's death. The house feels too tight, too confined. The ocean still reminds me of her, but freer, easier, even today, maybe especially today. Gabby and I look through the pictures of my wife, her mother. Oh, look, I say, there you are. She squints at the image, all focus. Tell me again why I was never in Mama's belly. That's not the way you came to us. I'm distracted by the photo, Rachel leaning against the counter in the kitchen, a line of sun from the window catching her dark, curly hair, turning a patch of it to bronze. Long legs, tight jeans, peasant blouse slipping off one shoulder. I was adopted, Gabby says, interrupting my thoughts in the knowing tone of a second grader. She's known forever, for as long as we could tell her, but she still says it like a new thing, a grand revelation. Of course, best choice we ever made. And Mama loved me like if I had been in her belly, she says, continuing the story she'd heard a million times. Maybe even better than if you'd been in her belly, I say, taking up the narrative. We'd been trying to have a baby for a very long time. How long, she asks, though I know she knows. 2 years and 4 months, I answer. But no baby came into Mama's belly, she finishes. She turns the page of the scrapbook, and I know what's waiting on the next page. None that stayed, I say. But then, we both pause, holding our breath at the beauty, the luck, the amazing fact of the next part. A baby came, she whispers. The photo, Rachel and I standing in the foyer, shell-shocked, holding that bundle, now in a clean, handmade pink blanket my sister had sent. Brought to me by a woman who couldn't keep her, a sad woman. Gabby nods solemnly. A fleeting woman, I think to myself, a troubled woman, but a woman I would never not love, because she'd brought me this child. Rachel and I had been thinking of doing in vitro, but Rachel didn't want it, felt afraid of it, the high hopes, the potential disappointment. After so much disappointment already. And so she'd filled out the forms, begun the process to adopt someone. We'd been told it was a long process, set our hopes on a tall shelf, applied to foster. And then one morning I came home from work with a story of a baby. Green eyes, skinny legs, loud wail. A baby who started to haunt my dreams until one night I woke Rachel telling her, asking her. And she'd cried. We'd called Child Protective Services the next day, a week after I'd first seen the baby. And because of my job and that connection, because Rachel had already started the paperwork, because it was a surrender with no parental strings attached, the baby came to us for fostering just a few days later. I'd barely had time to set up the crib. You gave me a big name, Gabby continues. A big name for a baby with a big life ahead of her, I say. Gabrielle. And a big mouth, she says mischievously. The biggest I've ever known. She'd cried for weeks, then months, this child scrunched into a little ball, knees to belly all day long. It wasn't drugs, they'd told us. The mother must have tried to stay clean during her pregnancy. Just a strong bout of colic, maybe due to prenatal malnutrition. Colic for months. They warned us of delays. She may not be the same as other children, they'd said. All that neglect, that woman. That was Rachel. Rachel rocking the baby deep into the night. She gave her to us, I'd added, and that is good enough. Taking my turn, rocking, pacing, always moving. Gabby turns to the picture of her first birthday, cake smeared in pink and green lines along her cheeks. The first night she slept without waking once. Rachel credited the cake, gave her sweets every day after that. Like magic, Gabby started sleeping, then crawling, walking. When words had started, they'd barely stopped. Dada first, I'd always reminded Rachel. It's easier to say, she'd replied. Then my smug smile. One of those jokes that keeps going through a marriage, one you expect to have for all the years to come. All the years. Not just 2 more. Gabby stops on the picture of her sitting on Rachel's lap. Hospital gown, bald heads, skinny legs, both of them. Dark-haired Rachel finally resembling this little child dropped almost onto our doorstep. But not for long. Soon Gabby's pink cheeks, her stream of words, her questions, soon they kept flowing and Rachel stopped. Gabby doesn't turn the next page. There's nothing there anyway. But often she still turns it, and sometimes the things Rachel meant to add, the pictures she ran out of time to add, they slip and slide into our laps. But today Gabby closes the book. I wish I could remember it better, she says. Ah, little girl, no one remembers when they were a baby. No, I mean, Mama, I wish I could remember. I run a hand through her white blonde hair. It had finally started to grow after 3 years of nothing more than a few straggly millimeters. Finally started to grow after Rachel's was completely gone. Now it fell like golden silk through my fingers, straight as a pin, soft as a rose. That's the way it is with memories, baby girl. They're hard to hold, even for you. I don't answer. I don't know. Maybe we should go for a walk, Daddy. Look, she says, pointing to a line of sun lasering down through the clouds. Maybe, I say, creaking up from the floor, standing and dusting some stray sand from my shorts. Gabby holds out a hand and I take it, walking toward that line of sun, that piece of day, that sliver of promise. The same way we've walked every day since Rachel slipped away. Lost to a disease, lost to a life that had barely opened up. Gabby swings my hand and I bend down, sweeping her up onto my shoulders as she laughs.